Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, and we are back once again with True Rewind, the Monday Night War, episode 5. This is In Your House, number 3. Once again, I am with my co-host, the connoisseur of all reporting himself, Romeo Anthony Cologne.
Woo!
Oh yeah. And we have the ghetto Ivan Ooze, the man that is here for a good time, not a long time. And the official Herb Abrams of the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, Drunk Guy JJ.
God, that is amazing. I'm gonna run with that. That's about to actually be my social media handle. Herb Abrams. Negro Herb Abrams.
No, but THH Herb Abrams.
THH Herb.
Romeo Anthony Cologne, you're the quarterback. Get us started.
September 24th, 1995. In Your House, number 3. Although I don't think that's what they called it at the time.
Having a fucking wrestling match with a Patron bottle. Jesus.
Well, I see that. I see he's having issues, so to give him a little bit more time while he's getting ready with his bottle.
Let's go, Jaquan sucks.
Push that I card at the bottom, push the subscribe button, and push the bell to stay notified for all the great content right on True Hill Heat. And check out our playlist for True Rewind, where you can check out all of our past episodes of True Rewind and follow us along on our journey through the Monday Night Wars. Now, Romeo, take it away.
In Your House, we are in Saginaw, Michigan, and I was, today years old when I ever heard that exists. Did you guys hear the theme song for the pay-per-view? Did you guys have any notes on that? I don't know. I wrote down theme song. I forgot why. It must have been bad.
It was like a very jazzy type of woman singing, and it was
in your house.
Back in the day, they had a fucking recap video for every goddamn In Your House. Like, it was something special. Jesus Christ.
But you gotta give it to like WWE production crew, since like, as far as I can remember, they've been on the money when it comes to those montages. Whenever they choose to do a montage, the fact that they can put it together in that short amount of time, I think. Well, I was actually listening to Brian and Vinny on Wrestling Observer. Shouts out to Brian and Vinny, because they are a lot of inspiration for us doing this journey. They finished their journey with the Monday Night Wars, and they were talking about the montage at the end of WrestleMania 17 and how they had the clips going with the song. Like, they're just awesome with the production. It's just awesome.
It's so funny you said that, because like literally 17 and 19 did that so perfect, and ironically they were both Limp Bizkit songs.
All right, we got the.
Man.
All right. Let's go, Patron. I wrote down the legendary In Your House set. They need to bring this pay-per-view back. I mean, In Your House, just for the nostalgia.
It would actually be perfect right now.
It's been 25 years since the first ever In Your House.
25th anniversary, absolutely.
25th anniversary of In Your House. So we'll have our very own In Your House probably countdown to add to our playlist of countdowns, and we'll probably do a ranking of In Your House on True Hill Heat. Why not?
Jaquan Mania 3 week. Yep, first In Your House.
On commentary, we have Vince McMahon, Jerry the King Lawler, and now Jim Ross. This is the historic first pairing of JR and the King. Did you guys know that?
What? This is the first pairing?
That's the first one?
Really?
First pairing.
So they didn't do it. They haven't done a Raw at all yet? Oh, wow.
JR wasn't on the Raws back then.
And the first match we have is the pride of Puerto Rico, Savio Vega versus Waylon Mercy. Did you guys notice Savio's haircut? I know they made several mentions of it in commentary.
I was like, oh man, Savio has his hand symbol cut in his hair. I was like, wow, way to go for that minority stereotype, WWE.
Savio Vega was ahead of his time. He knew a good Bronx barber.
Speaking of ahead of a time, you can't forget about Way of the Mercy either. Talking about ahead of their time. Come on, Romeo.
Are you
look
talking
like
about
Bray Wyatt from the past?
Bray Wyatt's grandfather? That's Bray Wyatt's grandfather.
It's got Bray
That's the
Wyatt
father
here.
of IRS, Mike Rotunda.
I looked this up. Unfortunately, this would be Waylon Mercy's only pay-per-view appearance ever.
And it was his pay-per-view debut.
Savio had a minor salsa battle to start the match. Did you guys see that brainbuster?
I was like, ouch. That did not look safe.
In all of the video games of the past, whenever I created my own wrestler, my finisher was a brainbuster. Always one of my favorite moves.
Mine's the 450.
Oh, spot monkey.
I did shooting star press.
Another
Yeah,
spot
see?
monkey. You guys got a spot monkey addiction. I wrote down they didn't seem to like Puerto Ricans much in Saginaw, Michigan. They really hated Savio Vega, even though he's clearly the babyface. All he wants to do is, dance and have fun. They were booing the shit out of him. They booed Savio. They booed the finish. Savio wins with a spinning
Where were
heel
they
kick.
again, good brother?
Saginaw.
Oh, yeah,
Michigan.
it's over. It's over. Never mind.
Spinning heel kick in 7 minutes and 6 seconds for the win. I gave this 1 star.
You were generous. I gave it half a star.
I give it 2 stars. Why?
Whoa.
Why? Because Savio Vega is underrated. Savio Vega deserves more credit. Waylon Mercy was not giving him much to work with here. There's Dan Spivey was at the end of his career. Yes, I'm gonna call him by his WCW name. Dan Spivey was at the end of his career here. He wasn't giving him much, but Savio Vega got a reaction from the crowd, although it was negative, like Romeo said. He got them to get behind Waylon Mercy. That probably wasn't in his intention. But it was an entertaining 7 minutes passable match with a surprise outcome. I was very surprised by that.
Savio's not in the Hall of Fame, correct?
No, nope. He deserves to be.
He's still wrestling,
I'll
isn't he?
put him in.
Yes, he was last wrestling with MLW. I saw him wrestle in December of last year.
Meltz gave it a 1/4 star, for the record. We go backstage and we learn Owen Hart is AWOL, as if we haven't had enough people going AWOL lately. Gorilla Monsoon, my family member, says the match must continue.
Jim Cornette was awesome here. All I want to say is the little exchange between Jim Cornette and Gorilla was awesome. He says, Gorilla asks, where is Owen Hart? Jim Cornette says, he's here. And Gorilla says, where is he? He's here. And then Jim says, he's here, but not in the building. I laughed. I laughed out loud. That was funny.
We go back in the ring. We've got Sid with Ted DiBiase versus Henry Godwinn. We got a recap.
Yes, we see Sid with him.
Throw him with the slop.
We see Sid was slopped on Superstars.
Pause.
Jerry the King Lawler tells Jim Ross, you know what Arkansas State motto is? At least we're not Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Godwinn hits the slop drop. DiBiase pulls him off of the cover. Trips him again. Sid powerbombs for the win. 7 minutes, 24 seconds. Dirty finish. After the match, Bam Bam Bigelow comes out, attacks Sid. Kama comes out on behalf of the corporation. Henry recovers and slops the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I gave this match 0.75 stars. What did you guys think of all this chaos?
Half a star. Crappy. You got fucking Godwinn against Sid. Oh my god.
I thought this match was a slow plotting match. Like I said, I give it a half a star. The only thing I put in my notes worth mentioning is that the slop looked like a mixture of oat salad, horseradish, creamy salad dressing, and water. And how the hell did Sid go from mid-card jobber to the stars to the WWF champion in a year? I will never understand.
Legit a year. He will become number one contender. Well, they'll find out from us eventually, but crazy.
That's your boy. That's your boy, Sid. It's your boy. You tell us.
Absolutely, he is my boy. One of the great promos in the business.
And this was opposite day, absolutely.
And for the record, I don't think I stated this, Meltz gave that a half a star.
Oh, well.
See, me and Uncle Dave, we agree. And I don't know if you also mentioned Henry Godwinn's music was offensive.
Well, please elaborate.
It was offensive. It's just a whole bunch of pigs and farm animals going off, and it's just hurt my ears. It hurt my ears to the point upset. That I wanted to mute it until his entrance was over.
We go backstage again. Gorilla Monsoon, Jim Cornette. Gorilla Monsoon is very fair here. He lets Jim Cornette pick a partner to replace Owen Hart. He didn't have to do that. I wrote down, I'm going to be salty if Owen Hart is AWOL, and this is a bait and switch.
Hold on. I got some bad news.
I'm afraid I got some bad news.
All right, next match, we have the British Bulldog versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam's gear, one of the best gears of all time. He's in full gear, obviously. Guys, do you not agree? Bam Bam's gear was literally fire.
It was flames, yo. It was
flames.
Iconic gear.
It was lit.
King on commentary says for some reason the Giants cheated today, trying to pick on Bam Bam being from New Jersey. I looked this up, being the reporter that I am. The Giants won 45-29 over the Saints. If they cheated, they did a whole lot of it because they blew them out.
And I'm sure Bam Bam is not a Giants fan after losing to Lawrence Taylor months earlier at WrestleMania. So.
We get a nice in-shot backstage. We see Jim Cornette talking to Sid. Could Sid possibly replace Owen Hart in the main event?
And make the match much worse? I think not.
Yeah, no offense to Bam Bam and British Bulldog, but when I saw the scene in the side-by-side screen between Jim Cornette having a conversation with Sid, I really wanted them to go to that camera. I didn't care about the match anymore. I wanted to hear.
You wanted to hear that conversation, yeah.
I wanted to hear that combo.
Bulldog wins via power slam in 12 minutes and 1 second. We see Bulldog arguing with the fans on his way out. One fan, I read his lips, tells him to meet him outside. Meltz gave this 1.75 stars. I was a little more generous. I gave it 2 stars. What did you guys think? Bulldog versus Bam Bam.
1.5.
I was definitely more entertained with the first match than everybody else, and I was a little bit more entertained with it than my Uncle Dave on this one. I went 2 stars as well. I said it was a decent match. Oh, and by the way, I just want to say this was my favorite part of the show. Next.
Oh man.
Favorite part of the show.
SB3, do you want to take this away? Because I just simply wrote Bob Backlund, and then I wrote SB3. The quarterback hands the ball off to the running back.
I love this whole segment. So the next segment, Bob Backlund comes out, and who is apparently running for president. One of the million times he's ran for president throughout his career. And then he says, and I quote, this is what he says: "Ladies and gentlemen, try not to exacerbate me. Where is your lexicon? Yeah? All the pavilions that walk this earth have to learn from challenges in this life. Like learn how to walk, learn how to eat. But you pavilions don't like to learn these things. Like learn how to read and write. And those acute limitations become chronic limitations. You become stagnant. Well, I have the great honor of introducing someone who crawled out of the cavity. Somebody that is an administrator that criticizes and disciplines his students. He weighs 234 pounds. He is from the University of Knowledge. I give you Dean Douglas. Ladies and gentlemen, I laughed and I laughed and I laughed and I laughed and I had to rewind because I was laughing too much and I couldn't write down every single word of this promo. Bob Backlund, I love you.
Dean Douglas comes out and he introduces Razor Ramon. Very disrespectful. During this match, we see Mabel in the inbox this time. He's talking to Jim Cornette. Could Mabel replace Owen Hart in the main
Another
event?
Harlem guy that's not from Harlem.
End of this match, we get, well, it is a Razor Ramon match, obviously. So there is a rough bump. And as soon as there's a rough bump, you know chaos is about to happen. 1, 2, 3 Kid comes down. He counts a 3 count. Is he even a licensed official?
God.
Dean pulls the tights. Dean gets the dirty finish roll up at 14 minutes and 54 seconds. After the match, Razor and Kid come to blows. Officials come and break it up. I gave this 2 stars. Meltz gives it 2.25. What do you guys think of all this chaos?
It could have been better. It went on too long. Fucking here we go with 1, 2, 3 Kid. It's fucking hot shit again. What the fuck? What the fuck was the point of you counting? What was the point?
Did he think that was gonna fly?
Like what? You're a fucking jobber. You're the last person to come out trying to make a count. Like give me a fucking break, man. I was like, yo, get this shit out of here.
Just because you can count to 3 doesn't make you a licensed official.
Being undefeated against Razor Ramon got to his head, so you know he's just thinking he can do what he wants.
He's elevated. He's promoted. He's promoted to referee. I agreed with Uncle Dave. I didn't know his rating, but I also gave it 2.25 stars. I thought it was solid, I guess you could say. It was the first match that felt important, that had a little bit of build behind it. So I enjoyed it, and it entertained me to that point. But yeah, definitely the ref bump and the finish kind of took me out of it. And 1, 2, 3 Kid, you're an idiot. You once again, I think you were on my screen for 5 minutes, and you're already a candidate for LVP again.
We get another In Your House commercial this time. We're going to the Great White North, Winnipeg, Canada, idiot. It'll be Taker versus Mabel, and it'll be the debut of Goldust.
Oh, I can't wait for that show. Oh, man. I cannot wait for that one.
The Shawn and Diesel promo, pretty generic. I don't have any notes on that. I don't know if you guys do.
I put the horrible line because Diesel, apparently Diesel at this point in his WWF run was at that top babyface corny ending lines where like I think John Cena was at this phase like towards the middle and before he kind of settled on the champ is here. I think Roman went through this with I can and I will. Diesel, I think on the way to this event, he said this line a couple of times, but once again, he tries to say it in a different way, and he says on the end of this promo, it doesn't matter who they get out of the locker room. These 2 dudes with attitude, when it's all said and done, are gonna be 2 chaps with 4 straps.
And the crowd goes wild.
Mild.
Of course.
It goes wild.
Mild. Next up, we have Jean-Pierre Layfette versus Bret Hart. Jean is obviously wearing Bret's jacket.
PCO.
Yeah.
PCO.
Watching this match.
That's a real nigga. He stole that jacket from Bret. Then he stashed the shades from the Kid. He pulled up to the match with the jacket like, what up? Fuck is popping, Bret. Fuck is popping, Bret.
If you haven't realized, he's a pirate. They kind of drugged this home on the commentary, like they kept saying.
Instead of stealing gold, he's stealing jackets.
He's a pirate.
SP3, did you write down any of Bret's promo?
Oh my God! All I have here in my notes is Bret promo before the match, saying it's gonna be Captain Hook versus Captain Crunch. Bret is Captain Crunch, and in big letters I put okay.
And then why would you call yourself Captain Crunch? over Captain Hook. What the fuck did they really go over what the shit they were saying before their promos? I feel like the top star was just able to say whatever. Because for him to even think that made sense is beyond me.
The match starts with Bret Hart attempting a tope suicida. He almost dies. I looked kind of pissed off. He looked kind of pissed off that he wasn't caught cleanly.
And that was one of the last time we saw the Pirate, so there goes that.
Jean-Pierre losing his balance on a basic punch. Awful spine buster. Nasty somersault plunge, a bump to the outside by Pierre. That looked rough.
It did.
It was going to be his gimmick, though, so therefore I guess it works out.
Little did we know.
He takes some of the hardest bumps of a guy over 250 pounds ever in the business. I don't think there's Terry Funk. Maybe Mick Foley was definitely over 250 pounds. Yeah, that's right. Besides Foley, it's Jean-Pierre Lafitte, aka PCO.
Towards the end of the match, Pierre nearly drops Bret on his head, pulling him out of the corner. I wrote down it might as well be Goldberg in the ring right now for Bret Hart.
Come on.
Stop.
Bret wins by applying the sharpshooter from his back in 16 minutes and 39 seconds. I gave this 2.25 stars. Bret Hart gets his jacket back. Meltz gives this 4 stars. Oh, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Me and Uncle Dave agree once again. This was the best match on the show. The best match on the show. This was a very good match. It had excellent technical wrestling. Great.
I wish Bret Hart was hearing this.
I think Lafitte took you out the match. That's why you don't appreciate it, and he froze it.
No. Bret Hart is doing the best he can. Lafitte just looks awful. And I'm not going to call him PCO. He's not PCO yet.
Not yet.
Look, SP3, you were so wrong that the connection froze. That's how much you were wrong.
It's his laughter. It literally stopped on his laughter. Like, literally, it paused, and he's like... Excellent technical wrestling from Bret. And great bumps and work rate and keeping up with the best wrestler in the WWF, in the whole company, by Jean-Pierre Lafitte. I felt like this match was great. It was a very good matchup. I loved it. 4 stars all the way for me.
Bret definitely. That's how great Bret was carrying.
Do you think it was a safe matchup? Do you think Bret Hart's health was ever in danger?
No, I did not.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, he almost did break his neck in the beginning. But other than that.
By the way, the Bret Hart sharpshooter from his back, so awesome. I need to see Natalya and her sister try to tutor that, mentor that in one of their YouTube videos. Some kind of demonstration.
We're not gonna.
But yes, that's probably one of the better versions of Bret putting on the sharpshooter. I would say it's either that one or his sharpshooter on Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam 1991.
I love that fucking sharpshooter, man. What a match.
JJ, topic, how many stars did you give this?
I got that 4. I very enjoyed that match, man. I don't know why you shit on the match.
The danger. Bret Hart almost died.
On his own fault.
No, not his own fault.
That tope suicida? Are you kidding me?
What about when Pierre almost dropped him coming out of the corner?
Oh, that's a timing spot. That's on both guys.
What about Pierre losing his balance on a punch? Did you see that?
Well, he's
maybe he was tired. It's been a long
match. It was at the beginning of the match.
He probably got winded walking to the ring. Who knows?
Hey, they were gassed. They were working from the opening.
It was at the beginning of the match. We go backstage. Jim Cornette has made his decision. He picks the British Bulldog. I wrote down this is an awful pick considering he already wrestled. He should have went with King Mabel. Yoko and Mabel would have destroyed Diesel and HBK.
Oh, God.
What do you guys think about this pick?
Of course, British Bulldog at that time. That was like the beginning of his heel turn. So I guess it worked. So
it worked from a story perspective because Bulldog did make his heel turn on Diesel. Bulldog was already a part of Cornette's Camp Cornette. So it did make sense on a storyline basis. But yes, it is disappointing to think you're going to see Owen Hart carry Yokozuna and have great exchanges with Shawn Michaels to find out that it's just British Bulldog. It's British Bulldog. You're already seen in the night. You already seen
having such a classic match with Bam Bam Bigelow.
The good old bait and switch. We are going to see a lot of those. We see Alundra Blaze. She's modeling the pay-per-view shirt that has, sadly, Owen Hart on the front of it, advertised on it.
Nice shirt, by the way.
So, yeah, this shirt is about as useless as all WrestleMania 36 gear before the cancellation. Would you say? Wouldn't you say, Drunk Guy JJ?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But I will say, seeing this segment, and I didn't even write this in my notes, but you telling me that the segment happened, because I don't remember it, tells me exactly why Alundra Blaze would wind up as Medusa in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, this tells us the sad state of the women's division right now in this point of history. It would go on to see better days.
Only had to wait 20 years.
And now it's time for our main event. The triple header match. British Bulldog and Yokozuna, not Owen Hart, with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette versus the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and Diesel. All the titles are on the line. I love the concept of the title match. What do you guys think about the concept of the match? We don't see this too often.
Yeah, we made it so more important. I'm something we've ever had one besides the what did you say, Backlash 01? The two-man power trip versus Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah.
That's the only one I can think of.
That's the only other one where they were ready to commit to the idea. It's a very nice idea, but at this time they weren't ready to commit to either two singles guys holding the tag team titles, or a tag team champion holding the Intercontinental or the WWF title. Bruce Pritchard on Something to Wrestle with Conrad Thompson. They talk about this event in particular. You can check that out in their archive section. And they basically talk about, like, they came up with the idea in a meeting and never knew the end goal, never knew the outcome. They just came up. They were so goal-driven on the fact that they wanted these in-your-house pay-per-views to have some type of draw, some type of gimmick attached to it. We didn't get to review, the first in-your-house happens on Mother's Day. That's the first one. But the whole gimmick for that one is they're selling the house. Because it's in your house. They're selling the house. Then the second one is Lumberjacks, where they have a lumberjack match between Sid and Diesel. So for this one, they were very desperate. They were grasping at straws. They couldn't base it on a match because the last one was on like a match. So they couldn't make it in your house steel cage. So they said, you know what? Let's put all the champions in one match and make it for the title. Call it triple header. And Bruce was basically like, okay, that's a great idea. But what's the end goal? We'll figure it out when we get there. Basically, what's their answer? And this
we'll find out 24 hours later anyway. So.
This is what they figured out and came up with for us.
Shawn Michaels makes his entrance. Did you notice the fans knocking down the guardrail?
Guardrail. That happened a lot.
That's how over he is.
Classic Shawn of the 90s, being just about the most over guy in the WWF.
Drunk Guy JJ, do you like Diesel's theme?
No.
Whoa!
Yeah, I don't.
A theme that you don't like? That's why
Well, that's a couple themes on the show. There's a couple themes on the show I didn't like, but you pointed out one, so I guess we can go with that.
You gotta keep track of these themes that you don't like because they are rare.
We go from Sexy Boy to that, so yeah.
Hey, I like it. I've always liked Diesel's theme. It almost sounded like the theme to Roseanne.
It sounded like Bad to, it's like a ripped off Bad to the Bone, basically.
How about this question for you? Better theme, Diesel or Big Show?
Which Big Show one? You talking about the original Big Show one?
Well, it's the Big Show.
He's had 3, so you talking about the original?
They all sound alike.
They all say.
You got that one, you got the rock and roll version, you got the rap version. So you gotta talk about the.
It's all the same.
It's a different beat. Some got words to it.
It's a beat. It's a beat made of derivative from the original beat. Like, what are you talking about?
So pretty much you're gonna compare Triple H's The Game theme song to his Hunter Hearst songs.
Those are completely different.
Oh my God, that is completely different.
No, it's not.
It is different.
Okay. It is not a remix. All right. Oh my God.
I should have never went down this rabbit hole. I apologize to our viewers.
They were both not. Put it this way, they were both not good. But if I had to choose, I'd probably choose Big Show. Okay.
One thing we can all agree on: Diesel's pyro is fire.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Diesel and Sean have matching two dudes with attitude gear. Jerry Lawler lies about his prediction. He says Sean will lose the IC title. That is not what he said on the Raw we covered. I don't know if you guys remember that prediction.
He said Yoko would win the WWF title.
Yes.
Exactly.
But
here he said Sean loses the IC title.
That was always his prediction.
I wrote down the crowd just pops different for Sean. You can see why he will eventually be on the road to WrestleMania.
Absolutely. We're already on the road, pretty much.
Sean got me into wrestling. I don't know about you guys, but hey, 25 years later, look at
Bret Hart first
Mark.
for me, and then Shawn Michaels.
I would say I came in probably a little bit earlier than you guys, because it was my generation that got me into wrestling was over on WCW. A couple of guys.
Don't sound so old.
Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, when they were on the WWF, got me into wrestling.
I left the Hart Foundation fan club to join the clique. Vince McMahon says, "Is it my imagination, or does Yokozuna get bigger and bigger every day?"
Seems legit.
What a bold prediction, as he will eventually send Yokozuna to Fat Camp.
Ironically, you talk about the Big Show. That was like him and Big Show. Like
that's true.
They got sent to Fat Camp.
That's true. I wrote down the kids love Diesel. You hear the Diesel chant in high-pitched voices like it's John Cena.
Well, Diesel in a lot of ways, I would say it's either Lex Luger first and then him. But like from what I remember in my wrestling lifetime, those are like the first baby faces that got like very noticeably rejected by the fans. Like Diesel was pushed as WWF champion for well over a year, but never
it happened out of nowhere.
But never was the top guy. Like always, it was either Bret or Sean or both were always higher up, more over, more of a draw, and just more important than him.
Yeah, Bret, that's just true. He went into Mania. Champ was even fucking main event. Well, then again, there was Lawrence Taylor. So
we get to the end of the match. Guess who shows up?
Bret?
Owen Hart. Owen Hart runs down, comes off of the top rope. He's caught by Diesel, powerbombed, and pinned in 15 minutes and 44 seconds. I wrote down, this is as dirty of a finish as it gets. Owen Hart, who was replaced, is all of a sudden allowed back in to the match. The ref makes the call on the fly.
Out of nowhere.
Wow.
And that's how they solved the triple header problem. There you go, folks.
Take this away, guys. Any thoughts on this match? Please take it away.
It was good for what it was. Of course, it would have been better with Owen in the match, but it was a pretty decent main event. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was.
I gave it 2.75 stars. Meltz gave it 3.
Okay, so I gave it.
How many you give it?
3.
Consecutive. I'm consecutive with agreeing with my Uncle Dave. I gave this 3 stars. I said solid match with a wonky finish, but basic tag match that the fans were into the entire time.
Yeah, the crowd was definitely into that match.
Fans were crazy for it. If I paid for this pay-per-view, I'd be pissed.
I paid for the VHS. I remember getting this on VHS. Watching it on VHS, and being disappointed by the finish. But, yeah. I mean, WWF...
I'd be calling for a refund.
WWF did not think this one through. They did not
lied
think.
to. I was lied to. All this time, I was looking forward to this pay-per-view. That main event, I was looking forward to it. And drunk guy JJ would just keep laughing at me. And he was right. The joke's on me.
I'm just gonna warn the viewers and warn you guys. I think it's gonna be a while before we have like a very great pay-per-view to review on either show.
Absolutely.
For either show.
95? Oh my God. Do you want to call WrestleMania 12 a good pay-per-view? You want to say the pay-per-view before WrestleMania 12? God damn it. Well, I don't want to tell you guys the matches because we're kind of not supposed to tell you. We're not supposed to know ourselves.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. I mean, 96 gets better. 96 gets better for both shows in regards to their main.
Save us, Stone Cold! Save us! Please come!
But we're in for a rough couple of pay-per-views. The next In Your House and Halloween Havoc are our next pay-per-views to review. And,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, thank you fans that support us. Thank you guys for sitting through and hearing us talk about these fucking shitty shows, man. Because God, I'm like, who the fuck cares about this? Get this the fuck out of here, man.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, fans. Let's wrap this up, guys. Let's start with the dirty finish counter for the WWF. We had 3 tonight, so WWF is matching the 3 that WCW did on their pay-per-view. That makes 6 in 3 shows for WWF, matching WCW. We've got our ref bump counter. We had another one tonight. Another one in a razor match. That's 3 in 3 shows. I'm gonna start a bait and switch counter. 1. We have a bait and switch. We have 1.
We have 1 bait and switch, ladies and gentlemen.
Match of the night, I had the main event tag team match. What did you guys have?
You said which match?
Brett and Lafitte.
The main event? Yeah, Brett, by far.
By far.
By far, the match of the night. By far, the match of the night.
Not by far.
It's definitely
a whole star by far, guys. What the fuck are you
Not by far.
Hart versus Jean-Pierre Lafitte. You guys, I would suggest that's the only thing you should watch from this show.
You know what I call this? A PCO bias is what I call it. These guys love
I'm
PCO.
a big PCO fan. What are you talking about?
The In Your House
talking about.
The In Your House reviews were a lot of one-match shows, and Bret versus Jean-Pierre. That one match on this show.
I definitely recommend the viewers watch that match just to see how horrible Pierre Lafitte is. It's worth watching just for that.
Don't listen to that guy.
My MVP of the night. I'm not sure you guys are going to see this coming. This was hard to pick because, I don't know. To me, not a lot of people stood out here. But Dean Douglas gets it for me with the win, with making Razor and Kid look like idiots. The great introduction. Who did you guys have as MVP?
I got Bret carrying Mr. Lafitte to a 4-star match because, man, it was looking a little dim there. I gotta go with Bret.
Nah, I kind of got to steal Romeo's line. I don't think you guys are expecting who I'm gonna pick for the MVP here.
Nobody.
I was gonna go with Bret. Bret had the match of the night. I was gonna go with the British Bulldog for working twice in the night. But as we recapped this and reviewed this, I realized there was someone else who worked more on the night, and the MVP is James E. Cornette.
Yeah, I know.
Cornette worked the entire night and found a replacement for our bait and switch main event. So James E. Cornette is the MVP.
Guys, can you do that that bad news thing you were doing earlier? I'm afraid I've got some bad news. SP3, my LVP is your MVP, James Cornette. And let me tell you why. I'm not sure if you remember the previous Raws. He talked so much shit. You would have thought he was going to have all the gold at the end of this night. Guess how much gold he had? Nothing. Bad. First of all, Owen Hart is in the building. Well, then let him fucking wrestle. Holy shit. No, he's here, but
Maybe he
he's
got there
not
late,
here.
you know?
Yeah. No, he's here, but he's not here.
They had a plan. Their plan was to not lose the tag team titles.
Yeah. And the replacement Jim Cornette picked, a guy who already wrestled, pretty bonehead decision. Jim Cornette is the LVP.
My LVP once again is. I think this is actually not the first time, not the second time.
I'm done.
I see what you did there.
Kid is my LVP.
Sean
Is it because he tried to be a referee and he's not a licensed official?
Absolutely. I didn't make it seem like he did the right thing.
He didn't even do the natural wrestling thing, which is put on a zebra t-shirt and call yourself a referee. He just came out in his ring gear and counted a 3 count. What?
Fucking dumbass, man. He got a lot of dumbass moments so far. I'm
Who's
going
your
with Sean Waltman, too. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. By far. The only thing that really pissed me off watching that show, like, are you fucking dumb? You gotta be.
All right, guys. Thumbs up
It's gonna be easy.
or thumbs down. It'll be 1, 2, 3.
3
Unanimous.
the board.
And a scale out of 1 to 10, I gave this a 2.6.
Sheesh. I would have said 3. You got a 4-star. Well, you didn't like the Bret Hart. Never mind.
4-star.
He's gonna be lower than us here. I'm gonna say 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
Bret and the main event tried their best to save this shit show of a pay-per-view, but they did not do great enough. 3 out of 10 for me. Drunk guy.
3 out of 10. Because we enjoyed the Bret and the Feet match, so it puts that up, unlike other people. So, sure.
Puts it up just a little bit. So, like we said, that wraps up In Your House 3 for True Rewind, the Monday Night War. We are going along with this journey. We're suffering along the way, but we are making it through together. So,
here for a good time, not a long time.
push the like button if you enjoyed this video. And of course, in the comment section below, let us know what you thought about In Your House number 3. Do you agree with me and Drunk Guy? Did you like Bret versus Jean-Pierre? Or did you think it was a horrible match like Romeo did?
Also put in the comments that Jim Cornette was a loser tonight. Loser. Not an MVP, a loser.
MVP. MVP. It's like LeBron in those series where he averaged like a triple double, but still lost to the Warriors. He still lost to the Warriors. That's Jim Cornette. That was Jim Cornette tonight. He had a triple double. He was the best player on the court. He just did not win the game.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. And of course, if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at True Hill Heat. Push the subscribe button. Push the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on True Hill Heat. So, for Drunk Guy JJ, for Romeo Anthony Colon, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been True Rewind, Episode 5. Signing off until next time.